Hi, I'm Kerri.
I'm Lana.
With a full mouth.
Sorry.
She's eating mandarin. And we're having a 5-minute break starting from now. And I've been thinking about this since I was on a panel the other night with 4 amazing writers, and I felt like the least interesting person on the panel, and in fact I said so at the time. And Eva Cox was in the audience. She's a feminist, and she called out, never apologise for yourself. But while what she said is very true, I think that I feel like a fraud and an imposter most of the time, and I'm really interested to find out whether other people feel the same way, including you, my friend Lana.
Yes. It's interesting because we went to that Women in Media event once before, and they also spoke about the imposter syndrome, and I think it's very much a thing that, and I've spoken about it with many friends who feel that way. I spoke to a friend the other day who's also an author, very different genre to you. She writes erotic fiction, and she's published lots and lots of books. And she said to me the other day, one day they're going to find out that I'm not a writer.
Yes.
I'm like, but you are a writer.
Yeah.
And she's, you know, and I know you feel the same way.
Every time I publish an article, every time I publish a post, I think to myself, you know, it's the last time because they're going to realise that I don't really know what I'm doing. I've written 2 books, or had 2 books published, and I am constantly wondering if I'll ever feel like a real author. How many books do I have to write to feel like a real author? Maybe 6 or 7. But she has written 6 or 7.
And you won't feel any differently.
Yeah, probably not.
Because it's, you know, I've been, you know, I was editor of Mamma Mia for years. And
iVillage.
And iVillage. And I never felt like, I always felt like I was just Lana. I was just like...
And you know more about social media than any social media expert out there. No, but she actually does. But you probably don't feel like it.
But sometimes I even feel like an imposter as a mother. Like, you know, when my son calls me or needs me for something, I think, like, why would you call me? Obviously I'll go, and I hope he doesn't know that I feel like an imposter. Because, but it just feels like, I even feel like an imposter as a grown-up.
Oh,
I don't feel like I'm ready to...
But I thought it was something that I felt in my youth, because I used to be a social worker. I trained and worked as a social worker, and I was about 22 years old and working in the hospital system, and I'd have to be counselling people, like generally middle-aged to elderly people, about things like sex after cardiac surgery, about relationships being impacted by serious illness. I then worked in liver transplant, and I had to deal with all these issues, and I felt like I'm a kid. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I felt it was because of my youth. And now I'm 46 years old, and I've been doing what I'm doing for, about 13 years now, and I still feel it. And I think it's a very, very much a female thing. I don't think men feel that. I don't think men ever or very rarely apologise for themselves.
Might be, but I don't think as a whole, and I think not most, because I don't know, but a lot of females believe that they're not qualified for what they're doing, or they're not good enough at what they're doing, or they shouldn't be what they're doing.
And every time we go out a lot and we meet people, often together, because there's safety in numbers.
Because we're petrified of being alone.
Yeah, we're petrified of strangers, but people we've met online, and usually it's fabulous.
When do we go with each other? Yeah.
But, you know, usually it's real
online.
It's not like a sex thing. Like women, you know, women writers and women bloggers and media people, and often they'll say, "Oh, I'm so excited to meet you," and we're both like looking at each other thinking, "Huh?" You know, they're excited to meet us. And I've met so many women who I've been nervous and excited to meet, and you know that they might say, "Oh, I'm really thrilled to meet you," or I've been nervous to finally meet you, and I'm thinking, are they completely mad? Like,
I was nervous to meet you.
What, at the school picnic? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was only because you thought I was a bitch.
Yeah.
That's a different story. We're not going to go into that now, because if there's one thing I'm not a fraud at, it's being a bitch.
Recently, when I was going through Thermogate, and somebody said to me, somebody had written some really nasty stuff about
Mandarinagate.
Somebody had written some really nasty stuff about me, and I wrote her and I said, you know, I'm just a human being, and it's quite hurtful.
But she thought
said to me, you're not a human being. You are the editor of iVillage. I pointed out that I'm no longer the editor of iVillage, and even the editor of iVillage is a human being. Like, just because you have a fancy title, or, you know, you've been in, you know, it's a fancy title. It doesn't encompass who you are, and it doesn't define who you are. There's human beings, and when people on the internet are mean about a celebrity, you think to yourself, you know, I wonder if celebrities get imposter syndrome. I wonder if
I
they
don't
read that
know.
stuff and go like, wow, that person can see that I'm,
At what point, there's our time, but at what point do people start to feel valid in what they do?
Yep. And
especially women people,
female
female people. And do you feel a sense of imposter syndrome? Tell us about it. We'd love to hear. Bye-bye.
Cheers,
and
bye.
now I'll try and turn off the computer without being a fraud. Nope,
It's
still
not
can't do